This is Matho 308, the beginning of Matho 308, and we're going to talk about section 2.1 in this video, solving linear equations, kind of part one, kind of from the beginning. So the first thing we need to learn about is what a linear equation is. A linear equation in one variable, which means just one letter, is an equation that can be written in the form ax plus b equals 0. A and b are any real numbers, and a specifically, the coefficient on x, is not 0. So you're going to have an x in the equation. It's not going to be squared or square rooted or divided by another variable. It's just going to be x. And then there might be another constant attached to it. And we're going to talk about how we solve equations kind of one step at a time, and then we'll combine all those steps into a multiple step equation. This is going to use your skills that we learned at the end of chapter 1, including combining like terms and the distributive property and a little bit of order of operations. So looking at example 1, we're going to use the addition and subtraction properties of equality, which means that if you add something to one side of the equation, you have to add it to the other. If you subtract something from one side of the equation, you have to subtract it from the other. And the idea in solving is that we're going to use the opposite operation to solve. We use the opposite operation. So right now in example 1, part A, we have x minus 8 equals 3. So x has an 8 being subtracted from it, and if I want to solve for x, I'm going to do the opposite operation, which is adding 8 to both sides in order to solve for x. So it's got a little crooked, but you're going to add 8 directly underneath the minus 8. That shows the opposite operation, and then whatever you do to one side of the equation, you're going to do to the other side of the equation. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0, so you don't have to write it. So the only thing left on the left side is x, and then on the right, 3 plus 8 is 11. And once you have x isolated, and it has a coefficient of 1, and it equals a value, that means you have solved the equation. If I were to plug 11 in for x, 11 minus 8 equals 3. And that's how we double check our answer. On part B, you'll notice the negative 5 is on the left, the equal sign, and then m plus 4. Our goal here is to solve for m, so we need to get anything away from m that's on the same side as m. Right now it has a plus 4. So the opposite operation would be to subtract 4. And we're going to do that on both sides. So negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9. Positive 4 minus 4 is 0, which is why we did that. And then the only thing left over there is m. Now with an equation, it's the same on both sides. So negative 9 equals m can also be written m equals negative 9. You can only do that if there's an equal sign in the middle. But we tend to write our answers with the variable first, then the equal sign, and then the value. You are welcome to pause the video and try one on your own. For you try one, we're going to add 5 to both sides. That's going to give me b equals 14. And you know you're done when you're down to just the variable equals a number. And then on you try 1 part B, we're going to subtract 6. And it's all about where the variable is. So you might have thought to add 2, but the variable's not on that side. It's all about where the variable is, and you're trying to get everything away from the variable. So you should have gotten negative 8 equals y, which we write y equals negative 8. Again, across an equal sign, it's okay to switch the sides. So that's adding and subtracting to solve for a variable. The other skill that we're going to use a lot of is multiplying and dividing to solve for a variable. So the multiplication and division property of equality is very similar. If you multiply one side by a number, you have to multiply the other side by that same number. If you divide one side by a number, you have to divide the other side by the same number. So right now it's 3 times k equals negative 9.6. The 3 is being multiplied by k. And again, we're going to do the opposite operation. That is how we solve. Opposite operation. So instead of, the opposite of multiplying by 3 would be dividing by 3. So if we divide both sides by 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we're just left to 1k. And then negative 9.6 divided by 3 is negative 3.2. And again, you're welcome to use the calculator at any time, but specifically with decimals to make sure that you've got the right answer. And remember that a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Part B is a really important concept that we're going to see a lot when you just have a negative in front of a variable. It is actually a negative 1. We don't write the 1. I think I mentioned in class, mathematicians seem kind of lazy. If they don't have to write it, they don't. So it is a negative 1. In order to solve for m, we're going to divide by negative 1. So m equals positive 19 divided by negative 1 is negative 19. So again, when you see a negative in front of a variable, it's being multiplied by negative 1. So in order to undo that and do the opposite operation, we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. On the next two examples, we have some fractions, and there's different ways to deal with fractions. I think it all depends on if you have one fraction or if you have multiple fractions. If you have one fraction, one fraction, I thought I changed colors. Let me try again. I don't know if that's going to change for me. Okay, so if you have one fraction, you're going to multiply, it's not going to change for me, that's okay. Multiply by the denominator. And multiply both sides. And we'll use this technique a lot when we have fractions. But if you just have one fraction across the whole equation, you multiply both sides by the denominator. So in part C, we have x divided by 4 equals 5. The opposite of dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. So I'm going to multiply the left by 4 and the right by 4. The 4 on the left is going to divide off the 4 on the denominator, and we're just going to be left with x. And 5 times 4 is 20. Just a side note, a lot of times students want to multiply the 4 times the x, which is fine. And you're still dividing by 4, and those 4's divide off. So you can save yourself the trouble and just divide it off without having to multiply it out. And now that we have x by itself, we are done. So x equals 20. Same idea on part D. Now when you have a fraction multiplied by the variable, I believe it's easier to write it like this. So the variable always goes to the top. And we'll see this again as the equations get more complicated. You put the variable on the top over the denominator. Equals 12. Now again, we're in a situation with only one fraction. When there's one fraction, you multiply both sides by the denominator. So we're going to multiply this side by 8, and this side by 8. We get 3y equals, that should be 96. And then we've got 3 times y equals 96. So in order to undo 3 times y, we're going to divide by 3. And we get y equals 96 divided by 3 is 32. And we have it solved. There is other ways to deal with these fractions. I've just found when you have one fraction, only one fraction, multiply both sides by the denominator seems to work best. And you can always put whatever's next to the fraction on the top with the numerator. Alright, I think there's a couple others, 4. Alright, so then you try 2. If you want to pause the video and try those 4. and I will go over them. All right. So on part A, we have negative 8 times W equals 42.4. We divide both sides by negative 8. So keep the sign with it. We're going to divide by whatever it says. You should get W equals negative 5.3. And you are welcome to use the calculator for that one. Negative 5.3. On part B, we just have that negative in front of A, so we're going to divide by negative 1. And A equals positive 25. On part C, we have H divided by 7 equals 8. Again, just one fraction, so I'm going to multiply both sides by that denominator. And that's going to give me H equals 56. And on the last one here, we have a negative 5 over 9c. I'm going to write that as negative 5c, all on the top, divided by 9 on the bottom. I think we talked about that in class as well. Put the negative up top with the numerator, and you can also put the variable up top with the numerator. Then it's a little easier to see that we're going to multiply both sides by 9. That's going to give me negative 5c equals 180. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 5. And we should get c equals negative 36. So again, that's my approach. When there's one fraction in the book, probably does the reciprocal, which I think is okay, but we're essentially doing the reciprocal here, just doing it in 2 steps instead of 1 to make it easier to see. Those are all one-step equations. We do one process. We either add or subtract, or we divide or multiply to get to our answer. Now we're going to see both of those steps put together in this next set of examples. So here we have 3 times p plus 7 equals 31. And we're trying to get p by itself. So the first thing you want to do is add or subtract to get the constants together with the other constant. So the first thing we're going to do here is subtract 7. And there's a list of steps at the bottom. I know I'm kind of going through them as we go, but you'll see a list at the bottom. 31 minus 7 is 24. And then we'll divide. Dividing usually comes last. So 3 times p equals 24. Undo the 3 times p by dividing by 3. And 24 divided by 3 is 8. So that's called a 2-step equation. We added or subtracted first, and then we divide. It's kind of the opposite of the order of operations because we're undoing things. So we follow the order of operations when we're putting things together, and then we do the kind of backwards when we're trying to solve. So go ahead if you want to pause the video and try this. You try 3. It's a 2-step equation. We're trying to get n by itself, so we're going to move that 9 first. 2n equals 6, then divide by 2, and n equals 3. It helps to write it on both sides of the equation directly under what you're undoing so that you can see what operations were involved. I'm going to pause there. These videos only record for 15 minutes at a time, and we're almost at 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause there, and I'll continue in another video.